Hello, friends. And today we are covering the darkest true crime headlines of May 15th, 2022. To start, from ABC 10, grandfather, uncle of San Jose 3-year-old killed in exorcism arrested. Two family members of a 3-year-old girl killed last fall during an exorcism at a San Jose church arrested for alleged homicide. San Jose, California. The granddaughter and uncle of a 3-year-old girl killed last fall during an exorcism at a Northern California church were arrested this week in connection with her death, police said Friday. I personally haven't heard anything about this story yet, so this is all news to me. The child, Aurelie Naomi Proctor, died last September after family members performed a ceremony because they believed she was possessed by an evil spirit, court documents show. The Santa Clara County Medical Examiner's Office ruled the death a homicide caused by asphyxiation. Police on Wednesday arrested René Trigueros Hernandez, the child's grandfather and pastor of the Iglesia Apóstoles y Profetas, a tiny Pentecostal church in San Jose, and René Hernandez Santos, the child's uncle. They were arrested on charges of child abuse leading to the death of the victim, the San Jose Police Department said in a statement. And this is a common story. Anytime that some kind of spiritual exorcism is performed on a child, it ends in tragedy. In January, the girl's mother, Claudia Hernandez Santos, was arrested and charged with assault on a child resulting in death. According to court records, Claudia Hernandez Santos told police she believed her daughter was possessed because she would wake up and scream or cry periodically. She and her brother brought the child to the church on September 24th, where they were joined by her father to perform an exorcism. That's really disturbing because, of course, every child will wake up and scream or cry periodically. It's very natural, and it's heartbreaking. The article says the child's mother is accused of depriving the girl of food and of holding her neck and squeezing it while the grandfather and uncle held the child down. This is terrible. This is terrible. I'm going to move to this quote towards the end, an attempted justification. The grandfather told the Mercury News last week that he performed a ceremony on the child to liberate her of evil spirits. He didn't want to reveal the details of the exorcism, but he said that his granddaughter was asleep when she got to the church, and the ceremony took 2 hours. Often when kidnappers, killers of such victims, like children, things like that, there will often be a drugging, giving of OTC, sleeping medication. I'm not saying that's what happened, of course, in this. I have no details, but the fact that he says that during this apparently fatally brutal thing that the daughter was transported in a car asleep, that makes me ask the question, at least. From the article again. If you read the Bible, you'll see that Jesus cast away demons and made sick people healthy again, he told the newspaper. It's not what I want to do. It's when God in his will wants to heal the person. The preacher is like an instrument of God. What we do is what God says. And that's, I'm a spiritual person. I have a religious background in Catholicism and exorcism. I'm not just attacking these people for no reason, but that is a cop-out to me. It sounds like these people murdered a young girl who had nothing wrong with her except that she was fussy. In my personal opinion, I don't think religion has anything to do with this. Maybe they thought that they were helping on some level, but that doesn't excuse what happened. For our second story, a nearly $1 billion settlement is reached in a Surfside condo collapse lawsuit. A nearly $1 billion tentative settlement has been reached in a class action lawsuit brought by families of victims and survivors of last June's condominium collapse in Surfside, Florida, an attorney said Wednesday. Harley S. Tropin announced the $997 million settlement during a hearing before Miami-Dade Circuit Court Judge Michael Hansman. Still pending final approval, the settlement involves insurance companies, developers of an adjacent building, and other defendants. I'm shocked by this result. I think it's fantastic, Hansman said. This is a recovery that is in far excess of what I had anticipated. The 12-story Chaplin Towers South condominium collapsed abruptly in the early morning hours of June 24th. This is in Miami-Dade area, Florida. And it almost instantly destroyed dozens of individual condo units and buried victims under tons of rubble. Rescuers spent weeks carefully digging through mountains of concrete, first to find survivors and later to recover the remains of those who died. A total of 98 people were killed, 100 people just about 100 people. I suppose it's more correct to say over 100 victims with almost 100 fatalities. But this lawsuit has been resolved, and at least some of the lawyers are pleased. That's good. And that will help, of course, the survivors and the families, which is nothing to spit at. Quoting the article, at the time of the collapse, Miami-Dade and Broward were the only two of the state's 67 counties that had condominium recertification programs. So it seems that legislation in Florida has been addressing this in part, but has also moved to address this since this has happened. But almost a completely condominium collapse. It says, Chaplain Towers were located in Surfside, a town just north of Miami Beach. The little-known enclave comprises a mix of older homes and condos similar to the collapsed tower, built decades ago for the middle class, and recently erected luxury condos drawing the wealthy. A court has heard that a teenager stabbed a 12-year-old girl to death after she objected to being filmed. Ava White died from her injuries after she was stabbed in Liverpool city centre while out with friends on 25th November 2021. Liverpool Crown Court heard a 14-year-old boy killed Ava with a knife with a 7.5 centimeter or 2.9 inch blade after they met by chance at a Christmas light switch-on. The boy has pleaded guilty to having an offensive weapon but denies murder. God, can you imagine that? You're at a Christmas light switch-on. You or your family. Someone is filming you and you don't want it, and you say something and you die. It's incredible. It's incredible. Ava and a friend approached the boys and asked them to stop filming and delete the footage before being joined by more of her friends, including two older boys. The jury was told that the older boys left, but the defendant and his friends then jeered at Ava, causing her to run towards them. A 20-second clip showing the stabbing in School Lane was played to the court, which showed Ava approach the defendant. Family members were in tears in the public gallery as the footage was played. God, the more I read about this, the more it sounds like just a terrible, terrible, unnecessary escalation on the part of these boys. The prosecutor added, however, his reaction at the time was to smirk, to laugh, and to run away, leaving Ava to die while he sought to distance himself from the actions. The court heard he began a conscious cover-up of the crime, discarding his knife, phone, and coat. Miss Justice Yip told the jury that the defendant had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and they may see him using a fidget toy to help his concentration. Wow, that especially is dark when you think about it, because these are all just kids. I mean, this defendant took a life. He is a murderer, but he is also... They haven't given us any information about his age or anything, but it can be presumed, I think, that he is also a youngster. The article ends, the defendant, who cannot be named due to his age, also denies an alternative count of manslaughter. The defendant, who cannot be named due to his age, also denies an alternative count of manslaughter. The trial is expected to last 3 weeks. Friends, thank you again for joining me for this second edition of Darkest True Crime Headlines, May 15th, 2022. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you again soon.